In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to build a website with Elementor, front to back, start to finish, no steps skipped, doing the entire thing. You're going to have zero website when you start, and if you follow along, you're going to have a running, functioning, modern website when you're done. And we're getting started right now. Hey, what is going on? My name is Bjorn. If you like WordPress tips and tricks and always getting better at it, make sure you click subscribe, then the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything. And this video is part of the Elementor Pro playlist in this channel. Link in the description down below or part of the comments down below. Make sure you check out the whole playlist to see all the widgets in action. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you get on the Elementor Pro Ultimate Course waitlist, which I'm building right now. I'm still in the process of building it. It's not completed yet. Getting on the waitlist is no obligation, but if you do like Elementor and you want to know how to do everything with it, get on that waitlist. Link in the description down below. And with that out of the way, let's head into screen capture. I'll see you there. Here's a quick look at what we're building in this tutorial. This is the home page. And then we're going to build the services page. After that, the about page, and then a contact page. And we're building all of these from scratch, from zero, so you can see exactly how it's done. And if you follow along at the end of this tutorial, you're going to have a functioning website. So the first thing we need to get our website online is a domain name and a hosting account. The domain name is the address where people are going to find your website. Mine is this one, and the domain name is wplearninglab.com that you see up here in the address bar. People type that in or they click on a link and they come to this website, and that is my address. And the hosting account is a hard drive on the internet where your website files and database are stored. And that is publicly accessible to anybody who has an internet connection, which means that you can actually have your website visible to the public. And you need those two things to have a live website, a domain name and a hosting account. So the first thing we're going to do is get those two, because we can't install WordPress until we have them. In the description down below this video, you're going to see a link that looks a lot like this one. It goes to SiteGround, which is awesome hosting. This is an affiliate link, which means that SiteGround does give me some commission for sending you there, but it doesn't make it more expensive for you. It's the same cost for you to get the hosting account. It's just that part of it is sent to me, and that helps me keep the lights on. That helps me create these videos for you, and it's just all around a good thing. So I'm just going to head over there, and we're going to check out the WordPress hosting, which is going to take us right to, and we have 3 different plans to choose from at SiteGround currently, and they're almost always at a great deal, but you do have to buy multiple months at a time to get the great deal, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But the special price we have for the startup plan, $3.95 a month, $5.95 for the Grow Big plan, $11.95 for the Go Geek plan. Since this is your first website, the startup plan is more than enough. It gives you one website, 10 gigs of space, and 10,000 monthly visits. That might not sound like a lot, the visit number, but it is. It takes a long time to get the 10,000 visits. And 10 gigs of space might not be a number you can wrap your head around. What does that really mean as far as websites go? It means it's a lot of space. That's a lot of space. So the startup plan is more than enough. It's easy to upgrade to others later on. So start with the startup. Click on Get Started if you're following along. We have automatically chosen for us to get a new hosting account at the top. And like I said, later on you can upgrade very easily. You just click on this little upgrade icon and then you can just upgrade to one of the other plans. It's super simple. We're going to register a new domain name. If you already have one, just click on this radio button, enter the domain name here, and then carry on. I'm going to register a new domain name, and I'm going to call it Let's Build with WP.com. And later on, once we click submit at the bottom, it's going to tell us whether this domain name is available. If it's not, we'll have to choose a different one. If it is available, the payment will just be processed and be no big deal. So here we confirm we're choosing startup. And again, we confirm we're choosing startup. For the location, you pick the location closest to you. And theoretically, that means that your website will load fastest in that area. Since I'm in North America, I'm going to choose Chicago. For my period, which is the length of the term I want to pay for, I'm going to choose 12 months. Every 12 months it will renew. So I'm paying 12 months in advance, and I will get the hosting price of $3.95 per month and $47.40 is the total cost. You can choose a different period as well. You can do a 1-month trial, which is $3.95 plus $14.95 setup. And because it's a trial, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think it then reverts to the $11.95 a month So you just get the $3.95 trial for the first month, plus $15 setup, and then you go to the $11. All these other ones, 12, 24, 36, those stay at the $3.95 a month when you buy in those longer terms. I'm going to choose 12 months. Usually if you're building a website, you kind of want to give it a chance. 12 months is a short period as far as websites go. So if you're building a site and you want to make a good go at it, 12 months is what you need or more. So I choose 12. You can choose whichever one of those you like, whichever one you feel is best. Domain registration is checked because we're registering a domain. It'll be $16 for that domain, including VAT if you're in Europe. Domain privacy is optional, extra $12 a year. What that means is they hide who buys the domain. If you have domain privacy checked, if you buy this domain, it will show as being bought by SiteGround. If you don't have domain privacy checked, there's something called a whois database. Inside the database, anybody can see who bought the domain, and it's going to have your name and your address. So they can contact you for whatever reason, or if you're a business, that might be something you want people to see where you are and who you are. If you want domain privacy, you want your privacy kept private, click on domain privacy. It's up to you. SiteGround Site Scanner is a malware scanner that scans websites for malware and malicious code, which is an issue with any website out there. I'm not going to check this because I've got a bunch of free plugins that will do that, and I have tutorials about those plugins on this channel as well. So you can choose to have this scanner or choose to use one of the plugins I recommend. There are free ones and paid ones. This one is clearly a paid one. $20 a year is actually quite cheap for a scanner, but there's also free ones that I show you. So you can always add this later if you want to, but I'm not going to check that because I don't think that's needed because you can get free ones. Down here, we confirm the price we're going to pay, and then we're going to enter our credit card information and things of that nature. So I'm just going to pause this video while I do that. So I have all my info filled in. Presumably you do too at this point. I have it grayed out for security reasons, and I'm just going to confirm this is the amount I want to pay. It was about $47 for the hosting and then $15 for the domain name, which is pretty close to that amount. So that's likely the correct amount. I'm going to click on I confirm that I have read and agree to the SiteGround terms of service and privacy policy, even though I have not read them because I don't want to take the rest of the week to read these things. But you have to check that box either way. The second box is optional, and it's whether or not you'd like to receive news and special offers by email from SiteGround. So choose to check that or not. I'm going to check it, and I'm going to click on Pay Now. And now our payment will be processed. And like I said earlier, if your domain name is taken at this point, you'll be taken back to the top of the page, and it will say your domain name is taken, please choose a different one. For me, mine was available, and I got a notification, thank you for purchasing SiteGround hosting services. And that's awesome. And now we're going to get a couple emails in our email account. Those are very important emails. I'm just going to hop over to my email so I can show you what those look like. The first email has the subject line sales receipt, and this is a sales receipt. Print it off, keep it for your records, keep it in a safe place. This is important just for your records. It's not important for building a website per se. The next email that we got is information about your new hosting account. This one is very important. So make sure you check out this email and keep it in a safe place. And in just a minute, we're going to launch this wizard here. But first, we're going to check out the last email we received, which says verification required in all caps. It's in all caps, so it must be important. We have to verify our domain name. So here it says, in order to keep your domain name active, ICANN, which is the International Domain Name Repository or the managing body of all domain names, requires that you verify your new contact information. Click on the link below and follow the instructions provided. You would only get this email if you bought a domain name just now through SiteGround. If you already had a domain name, this should be taken care of prior already. So this is just for people who had bought right through SiteGround. So I clicked on that link to verify our contact information, takes me to here. It lists the domain name, it lists some basic information, first name, last name, email, and if that is correct, click on verify information. Contact info verified. So we should be good to go for that. And they probably send us another email saying verification successful. Not important right now. What is important is we go back to the email that says important information about your new hosting account, and we click on Launch Wizard. And here we're going to set up our new hosting account. I'm going to choose Start a New Website because that's what we're doing. I'm going to make a WordPress website. You can also choose one of these right here, but I don't know why you would. You're watching a WordPress tutorial, so you're likely going to choose WordPress. We're going to create an admin email and login information for that website. So I'm going to enter my regular email used for everything. I'm going to change my username to me, the password. I have a password generator here. I'm just going to generate a secure password. Show it to the world while I'm at it. Medium strength. Let's add an exclamation at the end. Now it's strong. And then I'm going to click on confirm. I'm going to save that password in a safe spot because that's important, that password. Oh, I just got an error saying the username needs to be longer. So let's call this Bjorn admin, I guess, maybe. That sounds great. Click on confirm when you have that filled in. We can choose to enhance our account. Here they upsell you again, the privacy, domain privacy. Again, not really needed. Site scanner again, not really needed. Choose them if you like, but I don't need them. I'll show you how to use the site scanner for free. The domain privacy, that's a personal choice. You can't really hide that in other ways. This is the only way you can hide your domain privacy or hide your domain information. The site scanner you can do for free. Click on confirm when you've chosen the options you like there. Then click on confirm again. Then click on complete setup. Once that's done, we get a message saying your hosting account is ready to use. Proceed to customer area. Click on that big green button and let's check out our customer area. And this is it. When we start out, you look at this and you're wondering, where do I go? A lot of information here. Where do I go? Where you go is to My Accounts. And this is where we now have our WordPress accounts. And if you bought a higher plan, you'd have maybe more than listed here, although when you first start out, you just have one. But this is where you'd add your other websites as you build them. So we're going to go ahead and click on Go to Admin Panel for the website that we just set up. And now we're going to enter the information that we just entered a few moments ago. My username was Bjorn Admin. My password was this. Click on Login. You should still have that password. I told you to keep it in a safe spot. So you should still have that. And now we have logged into our website for the very first time. If you've been following along, you now have a WordPress website. Check this out. Go to the top left here, click on Visit Website, and we have a live true blue website right here at this address, the address we just purchased, the domain name we just purchased. You can send this to your friends, your family, your mom. They can go and see your website live right now, which is pretty darn awesome how fast that goes. So let's head back into the dashboard. And this is the WordPress dashboard. This is where all the magic happens on the back end. There's a lot of stuff in here that we can just clean up really quickly that isn't necessary for building our site. So the first thing we want to do is go to posts, and I'm going to delete this post because it's an advertisement for SiteGround. So that one's deleted. I'm going to go to pages. All these areas will make more sense as we go. Again, I've got a lot of tutorials that show you what all this stuff is, so you can check those out. But for now, we're just going to do the basics on the cleanup. So there are no pages in here. That's great. I'm going to go to plugins. There's a bunch of plugins installed here. I'm going to choose this box right here and uncheck SG Optimizer. I'll keep that one because that's a pretty good one. And then I'm going to choose from this bulk dropdown, bulk actions dropdown, choose delete and apply, and then OK. And delete the two that were deactivated. I have to deactivate Jetpack first. Jetpack is a great plugin, but it's overkill right now. We don't need it right now. Just going to delete it and get rid of it because all this stuff takes up space on your server. And the more plugins you have, the slower your site's going to load. So you want to try to reduce your plugin load, which we have just done. We're going to head over to settings and then permalinks down at the very bottom. And we are going to check post name. This is the best permalink structure for SEO. You might not know what SEO is now. You may have heard of it, but not know how to do it. Either way, choose post name. That gets you set up for SEO right from the start. Click on Save Changes at the bottom to save that change. Go to Settings and then General and give our site a name. This is the site title. It's going to appear on the home page up in the address bar up here. If we check out the blog right now, I right-clicked or I command-clicked on it to open a new tab. It says My Blog up here, and then followed by My WordPress blog, which is this information in these fields right here. So let's change this to Let's Build with WP And then for the tagline, I'm just going to put my company name, WP Learning Lab. Now we can scroll down a little bit here. I'm going to change the time zone to my actual time zone. I suggest you do the same. I think I'm -8. If you don't know what your UTC code is, you can also choose the city closest to you, or closest, or in your time zone, I mean. And for me, there's a lot to choose here. I'm in America and Vancouver. There we go. So you choose your time zone. You can choose your date format. This appears when you publish a post. There's going to be date shown more often than not in your theme. And this will be the date, the way the date is displayed in that post. And that's fine by me. The time is fine by me. The week starts on Sunday or Monday. This is important for scheduling and booking plugins. Not so important for regular WordPress usage, but it's nice to choose the appropriate day, whatever day you think is the first day of the week. Then click on Save Changes. Now the next thing we're going to do is head over to Users. Just click on that, and it's going to show all the users on your site. And right now it's just me. I have an image here because I have what's called a Gravatar account. If you go to gravatar.com, I believe it is, and you just log in here. This is a WordPress company. You log in here, you make an account, you add a thumbnail, and then every single WordPress site you ever build, or every site you ever become a user on, with your email address, it's going to automatically populate your photo. And that's why that's there already, because I built a lot of websites. So I already have a Gravatar account, and that's why my photo's there. Either way, click on Edit. And in here, we can do something very important, which is change our password. So if we want to change our password, click on here to generate a new password. You can use this crazy one they give you, or you can type in a simpler one, like Yahoo. That's a week. You have to confirm you want to use a weak password. Click on Update Profile. So you can change your password there. Another important thing is how your name appears on the front end. So I had to use a certain number of characters because the name was too short for the username. So I added admin on the end. So my nickname is Bjorn Admin. But whenever I publish a post, it's now going to say Bjorn Admin, written by Bjorn Admin. And that's silly. I don't want to have that as my, my publishing name. So I'm going to add my first name in here and my last name. And then we can choose as the display name publicly as combinations of first and last name. So I'm just going to choose this one. Then click on Update Profile. So that's usually what I do when I first get into a WordPress site and I first set one up, and that's all the stuff I clean out. It's kind of all the default data, and I update that to whatever the site needs to be. And now we're ready with a fresh, clean install. We're ready to build out our first WordPress site. Before we get started, there's something I have to address. The domain name is different, which you may or may not have noticed. That's because I bought a new one for this tutorial. I set it up the exact same way as I just showed you, just a different domain name, so that you can go and interact with this website once this tutorial is finished. And if I always use the same domain name, that wouldn't be a possibility. I'd have to overwrite the site every time. So on Elementor 2019, we're going to install the Elementor plugin and build a site with the free version of Elementor, and it's going to be super pro, super polished. But first we have to install a theme, because in Elementor free, you're not able to edit the header and the footer, but we want to have a nice header and footer. So we're going to go to Themes and add a new theme, a free theme. So let's go to Appearance and then Themes, then click on Add New. And I'm going to look up a theme called Ocean WP. Very popular theme right now. I quite like it a lot. I'm going to click on Install Now once I've found it. Then I'll click on Activate to activate the theme. These other ones that we have here, I'm going to delete them. So I'm going to click on Theme Details, click on Delete in the bottom right corner, because you just don't need all the extra stuff cluttering up your workspace. A clean workspace is a healthy workspace. Now those are all gone. We see that there are a couple of things the theme recommends. Elementor is one of them, which I recommend as well. Ocean Extra and WP Forms, those are good. They're not required for this tutorial, but Elementor definitely is. You can install them all by clicking on Begin Installing as Plugins. I'm going to dismiss this notice, and I will just install Elementor in a minute. First, let's go see how the site looks. Let's go to Elementor 2019 at the top, and then click on Visit Site. I command click or control clicked to open a new tab. And here we are, very basic. We have a header, footer, and stuff in the middle. Super simple. Let's go back out here. Let's customize that header and footer a little bit. Let's go over to Appearance and then Customize. And here we can customize a whole lot of stuff just with this theme. So what we want to do is just build out a nicer header up here. So if we go over to our header, we can choose under menu a bunch of different placements for our menus. Sorry, under general, a bunch of different styles for our menu placements. But first we have to have an actual menu. So I think the one I want is top menu, but I don't know for sure yet. But it kind of adjusts as we do it, like we see here. And we need to actually add a menu. So if we go back to the very beginning, go to menus, and then click on create menu, it will take us to a place where we can create a menu. I'm going to call this main nav, and I'm going to select it as the main menu for this theme. Then click on next. I'm going to add items, go up to custom links, hashtag for the URL, services for the name, click on add, another one, hashtag, call this one about. Let's make one more, contact. Then I have a pretty complete website. I'm just going to hit this X to get rid of the services page. And we just have the custom links. For pages, we're going to click on home to add it. We can drag and drop these to rearrange them. As we're doing this, we can see the menu appearing on the page on the right over here. You can see it right here, and even with some hover effects already. And you can make these sub items by dragging and dropping, and see how that indented dashed box appears to the right a little bit. That means it'll be a drop-down menu item. I found it's a little bit buggy inside the customizer. So if you do want to do that, the best place to do it is in the regular menu builder. So I'm going to show you where that is. I'm just going to save draft. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to publish it. Publish. And then we're going to head out, click on this X, head out to the main dashboard, go to appearance and then menus, and let's refresh the page. So here, when you drag and drop them inside, we see that it becomes a sub item. If you click on save menu, head out to the front end, refresh the page. We should have our menu appearing here, and the home now has a little chevron, a little down arrow. When you hover over it, the services option appears. So that's how you build sub items. You can also have sub items of sub items. We could put about as a sub item of services. Save menu, come out here, refresh the page. Now we have home, then services, and then about. And you can do that multiple levels, so you can go even further, but usually you don't want to have that many sub levels. All these are main menu items, so I'm just going to keep those as the top level. Click on Save Menu. I want to customize the menu a little bit further, so I'm going to go back into Customize. Now that we have a menu there to work with, it's a lot easier to see what we're doing and what we're building. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of this Place Your Content here. You can add content above the menu with this theme, but we're not going to for this project. So I'm going to go to Top Bar, choose General, and then uncheck Enable Top Bar. That should take that out of there. And it does. Now we have our menu at the very top, looking pretty good. Click the back arrow 2 times and then go to Header. Under General, we can change the layout of the top area by choosing the style. So if we have minimal, it looks like so. We have our Elementor site name here on the left, menu on the right. We can replace this with a logo. Go back, go to logo. I'm going to click on select logo. Then I'm going to drag and drop my WP Learning Lab logo into here. Click on select in the bottom right, skip cropping, leave it how it is. And now it replaced that image up there, and it's quite large. We can adjust the size by using this little bar right here. It can go quite small, and we can get it just to the right size we want. The text is actually in white because the background is going to be darker. So this is going to be overlaid on a darker background, but it's hard to see what we're doing right now. So if we go back a little bit, and we should be able to go to General and choose a background color. Right now it's set to white. Let's choose black. Let's choose gray instead. No, let's choose black. Okay, so we can see our logo here. We can see our menu over here. And now we can adjust the size and work with it a little bit better. We can always change the color back, or we will change the color back in just a few minutes. And I'm actually pretty happy with that logo size and where the menu is on the right. And we've got a little search box here. Click on the search box. You can type in a search, and that's fantastic. So I'm actually going to leave that how it is. We're going to do a few more things to this menu before I change the color back to white over here. I'm going to go to menu, and we're going to change some colors. So we have some drop-down options here, but there is no drop-down because we don't have any sub-items. So don't worry too much about that. You can change the position of the menu, center it, left, right, and all this depends on where your logo is, and even if you chose this template, so that will change based on that. So the link effect is a link effect. So if someone hovers over the link it has an effect. Underline up is this effect. And we can see that one doesn't actually do anything. So underline from left, this one does something. The underline comes out from the left. That's pretty neat. We can choose a circular reveal. Doesn't do a whole lot either. You have to choose a color. Let's choose a color purple for that. Should be quite visible. There's our color. There's our circular reveal. Not super. Might want to tone down the color a little bit. Maybe a light gray for that option would be quite nice. Let's try that. Yeah, that's not that nice. So I'm going to stick with, hang on, backlighting. Could be pretty cool. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to stick with underline from left because I like that one. Simple, clean. You can change the color right here. I'm going to keep this color because it's very similar to the lighter color on my monitor up here. So I'm just going to keep that one. But you can change it by selecting any color on this grid. You can put in hex code right here if you're getting it from Photoshop or a different photo editor. We can change the styling. So padding left and right is how much space there is from the left and right between each item. So as you see me increase this number, the space between the menu items increases and decreases. Then if you like it like that, that's great. If you like it how it was before, but you don't remember what it was, click on the undo button and it goes back to what it was before. The link color we can change. So I'm going to make these links white because it's going to be a darker background. The hover link color that we discovered is the blue we're going to keep here, and you can change the color there if you want. The current menu item currently is transparent. That's why it's dark and grayed out. So I'm going to take this color, copy that, and make that the menu color for the current item. So now, because we're on the home page, the home link or the home text is in blue. If we're on the services page, the services will be in blue and all the rest would be in white. You can change the background color, background hover, background of the current menu item. This is the most common one. Might have something like orange back there. Not in this case, doesn't look very good, but you have something that maybe calls your eye to that color. I'm just going to clear that and not have a background color. There's a lot of different options you can have for your menus here. Search icon right now is in drop-down mode, meaning when you click on it, it's a drop-down. There's a couple different ways you can have it. You can have a header replace, which means when you click on the search, it's going to replace the header. So if you click on it now, it replaces the entire menu. You can type your search up there. You can choose to have it overlay. If you click on the search, it's now going to have a big overlay that covers the whole screen. You can type your search, hit enter, and it'll show the results. Or you can disable it and have that search icon completely gone. If you have a lot of content on your site, that search icon is very handy. I'm going to keep mine on. I'm going to keep it as a drop-down because then you can still see the rest of the menu. You can change the colors for input and borders and things, but I like the colors here work for this site, so I'm going to keep them how they are. But any of these colors, if you change them, you can easily change them back. Drop-down categories and posts, not relevant for this one because you don't have drop-down categories on the page, but you could change colors to them here. So now I have a nice little menu, nice little header. I'm going to now go back and I'm going to adjust the background color back to something else. So the background color, I'm going to choose transparent. So let's go to general. And for the background color, let's choose default. See if that goes to white. So if we have white or any color at all, we can change the opacity down here. Right now it's at 100. We can put it down to 0. Then there is no background color, which is the option that I want in this case. I am going to choose a bottom border. I'm going to make it very thin, gray border at the bottom. You can see the line appearing there. As I move, you can see the line getting darker and lighter. I'm going to choose a nice thin color there. There we go, that's pretty good. You can add padding as well. You can add content after the header, which I'm not going to do in this case. But now we have a functional header at the top with a menu. Let's do the footer. The footer I'm going to keep fairly basic, I think. We have footer widgets and footer bottom. So the footer bottom is the very bottom one, and the footer widgets is just this lighter gray right up above it. So let's do the footer bottom first. This is where we change the copyright information. So I'm just going to delete all of it here. Say copyright 2019, wplearninglab.com. And that is good enough. And if you want to change the background colors, here's where you change them. We've got a background color option here. We can change it to anything we like, make it green. That's a little intense. I'm going to change it back to what it was, just a kind of a browny gray. But we can change the background color, change the text color, the link color if there's links down here, because you can add links in here. To add a link, what you do is you have to use some HTML. Sorry, but you have to use some HTML to add a link in this section. So if we wanted to have this go to this actual page, in front of it we would type a greater than sign, a space href equals quote quote less than sign, and then greater than sign slash a less than sign after the link. Inside these parentheses, we add the actual URL, the destination of this link, which in this case is https://wplearninglab.com, like so. And now this is a real clickable link. As you can see, when you hover over it, it changes color, it's a clickable link. And we can change that hover color right here. This light blue is the hover color for that. So let's go back again. Oh, one more thing. If you want to get rid of that footer completely, just choose this box and that will take that bottom footer off. But it's good to have copyright information. The footer widgets is this area right above it. I'm going to choose show on all devices. You can choose to show on not all devices if you want to. I'm going to keep all these options as they are. You can choose a template if you want, if you had a theme panel, but we don't in this case. So we're just not going to do that. I'm going to choose 3 columns. Then we can pick colors here as well. And that's all the settings we have for that element in here. To add more to the footer, to add the actual content, we have to publish this page or save it. Click on the X to go back to the dashboard. Go to Appearance and Widgets. And now we have footer 1, footer 2, footer 3, footer 4. This is where I put the actual content. So for mine, I'm going to add various things. So I'm going to add an image. In footer 1, this is the one that's going to appear on the very left. If you recall, we had 3 columns that we chose. We could have 4 as well, 4 footers, or just 2, or even just 1. For the image, I'm going to choose my logo again. Add it right there. I'm not going to add a link to it. I'm going to click this down arrow to collapse that. I'm going to put some text below that. I've got the text widget, drag and drop it in here, and say, this is a great website. If you like Elementor, make sure you try it out. Good. Collapse that. And that's all I'm going to do for footer 1. Footer 2, I'm going to add text first. Make this kind of a headline. Give it a title. I'm going to call this Site Pages. Just going to be a list of pages. I'm not going to add actual text for the text, but I'm going to add a menu, navigation menu, drag and drop that in there. And I'm going to choose main nav. Maybe I'll just add the title in here. Let's call this one Site Pages. Click on Save. Click the drop down for this one. Click on Delete to get rid of that first one. Now we have our site pages in that one. And the third one, I'm going to add a recent posts widget, which will show a list of the recent posts. I'm just going to have 2. There's not too much space in there. I'm going to call this recent posts. Display post date. Sure, I'll do that. These auto save. You can save or not press save. They auto save as well. If I come out here, we see our footer as it was before. If I refresh this page, we should see our footer as it is now. So we have our site pages and nothing else. So that one worked. So let's go back into Customize and see what happened. I didn't click save. You have to click save. They don't auto save anymore. They used to auto save. So click save on all these. That one's saved but didn't show up. Saved, saved, saved. Refresh this page. Make sure they're all saved. Should be. Now refresh. There we go. Now we have our logo and our text appearing. We don't have any posts appearing over here because we have no posts yet. But what we do have is our completed header menu. We can't quite see it yet because the site isn't the correct color, but we have it up here. We can highlight it and we see all the words. We have our footer. And if I go ahead and just add a few posts, they'll show up right here. So if we go back into the site, go to posts and then add new, I'm going to call this is the Gutenberg editor. You may be using the classic editor, look a little different, but there is a title box. I'm going to call this my first post. This is the first and best ever post. I am going to add a featured image. Click on Document, go to Featured Image, go to Set Featured Image. I'm just going to find an image and drag and drop it into here. I like to go to a place called Pixabay for my free stock footage. So I'm going to go to pixabay.com. And then I'm going to go to Explore an Editor's Choice. I quite like a lot of these. Let's see which image is suitable for my first blog post ever. I don't know. None of these are really screaming first blog post. How about this guy? The hitchhiking parrot. Click on Free Download. The biggest size requires a free account. This size requires, or this size and below you can do for free. So the bigger the image you have, the heavier it's going to be. The heavier meaning the kilobyte size. So 2.9 megabytes is huge. And if you have too many images that size, it's going to cause your site to load slowly. So I choose this one usually. It's not too big these days for today's internet connections, but it's still big enough to have a super clear, perfect image. And you can always shrink it later if you have a plugin that compresses images, or you can do it manually in Photoshop. You can also choose 1200 wide by 853 tall. That's even smaller. Do not choose 64 by 426. It's more than likely you're going to use this image in a place where it's got to be bigger and it's going to look pixelated, because the image will expand, but the pixels won't. The pixels can't expand because it's a JPEG. So that's not going to look great. So I recommend you do the 1280 or the 1920. I'm going to do the 1920. I'm going to click on Download. Check I'm not a robot. Sometimes you have to play a little game where you find cars in the picture. Not this time. Click on Download, and the image will go onto our hard drive. So now, I'm just going to find the image off screen here. There it is. I'm going to rename it to Hitchhiking Parrot. And then go back into our post editor here, and we can just drag and drop it right into here, or we can click on Upload Files, and click on the Select button to find files, or drag and drop the Hitchhiking Parrot right here. Once it's uploaded, click on Select. And now it's going to add this image as a featured image right here. Click on Publish to make this guy live. Publish and then publish again. And now that post is live. If we come out here and refresh, that post should be appearing in a couple places, including right down here in the footer. So let's try that. Just refresh. Now we have it on the home page because the site is set to have that as the home page. And we have our post here. This post widget doesn't have the featured image, but we have the featured image in the post, and it looks quite nice with that parrot. I'm going to make one more post just for good measure. In fact, maybe make a couple more. I'll just do one more on camera, then I'll make two more off camera. Let's see what else they have on here. Oh, the screaming eagle right here. This could be a unicorn. I should Photoshop that to make that a unicorn. Let's see. Stairs. Who doesn't like stairs? Going up to bigger and greater things, right? Check that box. Download. I'm going to create a new post by going to Posts and then Add New. I'm going to call this I Like Stairs. Look at how high these stairs go. Click on Document, Featured Image. Get the image off my hard drive. Rename the file to Stairs. Drag and drop it. Boom. Uploaded. Done. Publish. Publish. And I said it's going to do it off camera, but I'll just fast forward. I'm going to make two more posts and fast forward it so you can still see the steps, just in case you want some more encouragement and see more how it's done. And I'll make this fast forward. It's going to go really quick. Okay, so now we have a bunch of posts on here. We have 4 of them, all with nice big pictures. We have 2 recent posts appearing here. I'm actually going to extend this because this menu is 4 items, so I'm going to make this one 4 items as well. Go back to the admin, go to Appearance and Widgets. And the reason I added so many posts is because with Elementor, we're going to include posts on some of the pages that we create. So it's nice to have some posts there to add. Let's go to Footer 3, Recent Posts. Let's make this 4. Click on Save. Come back out here, refresh. And now we have 4. Very nice. So our header and footer, for all intents and purposes, is done. I'm going to close out Pixabay, going to go back into the dashboard, and now we can actually start using Elementor to build the pages. So the first thing we have to do is install it. Let's go to Plugins and then Add New, search for Elementor. The one we want is in the top left here. Elementor Page Builder has a lot of great reviews, millions of installs. Click on Install Now when you're ready. Click on Activate after that. And this is the free version. There's also a paid version of Elementor. And what we just went through with the header and footer, you can actually do that in the paid version. You can't do it in the free version. So that's why we had to do it with a theme. With the paid version of Elementor, you don't really need a theme anymore. But that's a story for a different tutorial. But now that we have Elementor, we can go to Pages and Add New. We can give the page a name. Let's call it Homepage. Click on Save Draft. Then click on Edit with Elementor. So this is how the page will look when we just load it with Elementor. And what you notice is this is the menu that we created up here. And at the bottom is the footer. Just going to close this bottom bar. So we have this footer that we made with the theme and the header we made with the theme, but Elementor pulls them in. We also have the right-hand sidebar, which for pages we don't want. To get rid of that, I'm going to click on the gear icon and then choose Elementor Full Width from the page layout. And that'll give us a nice full width page to work with. And now we can start building out our page. We're starting with the home page, clearly, and we are going to add the header at the top first. So the first thing we want to do, we already have a header of sorts with the menu up here, but it's not quite how we want it. So I'm going to add a nice big image. I'm going to create a section first. So let's create the section, make it a full width section. I'm going to click on these 6 buttons here to open the section editor on the top here. I'm going to make it full width and I'm going to stretch it, which means it's going to be the width of the entire page every time. And I want to get rid of this home page submenu up here. So if I go to the gear, I should be able to get rid of that in here. Click on hide title. Yes, that's not the hide title. So under Ocean WP settings, I can get rid of that. We'll do that in just a little bit. Let's just start building this stuff first. So I want to have a nice big hero image in the back. This big hero image needs to involve some people and needs to look good. And I found that the free stock photo sites aren't that great for that. I have a membership to a place called Envato Elements, which is great for this kind of stuff. So if I go to Theme Forest, Envato owns Theme Forest and Audio Hive and all those guys. You may have heard of them, you may not have, but they have something called Envato Elements. And in here, there is a great, huge set of photos and resources and things. So if we go to Photos, this is also paid for, it's not free. But I found that the free resources don't provide great photos of people. They provide great photos of landscapes and buildings and things, but not of people. So I'm going to choose or search for agency meeting because we're building an agency website. See if I can find some kind of nice meeting going on here. I kind of like this group right here. So I'm going to use this image for my hero. I'm going to download it. Got to add to a license. Use the Elementor demo site license. Add and download. And now we have a 12 megabyte image. It's quite large. That's just too large. And because I don't have an image compressor on the site yet, I'm going to have to use Photoshop to shrink it down. You can go ahead and skip this part of the video if you want to. I'll show you if you want to see how I do it. I'm going to open Photoshop. You can do this in most image editing programs as well. And if you have a compression plugin on the site, you don't have to do this. But like I said earlier, the bigger the file size, the slower your site loads, and you want fast load times. So you want to have small images. I'm sure you've noticed by now, this tutorial is no step skipped. I'm showing you how to do every little painstaking thing. So we have Photoshop here. Let's open our image. I have 2 monitors, so I got to move these toolbars around. So let's open this image in Photoshop, and let's check out the image size. And it's very large. It's print quality, 300 pixels per inch is print quality. For the web, we only need 72. That's going to reduce our size here. And now the width is at 1200. That's a good size width, good size height. So we're going to keep those how they are. If this was at 72 down here, and this is still like 5,000 wide, I would tone it down to 2,000 or less. 920 by 1080 is high definition. So That's a good size to go with, but this is the size I get when I'm down at 72. That's the size I'm going to keep. Click on OK. It shrinks the image, but we're at 16% of the size. So if we Command or Control plus to zoom in, we see the full size is like this, and that's still quite large. So I'm going to use this image. I'm going to go to File, Save for Web. Now we have some Save for Web options. JPEG is the lowest quality image, but it's still high enough for pretty much anything, especially for background images. So I'm going to keep it as JPEG, and medium if you want higher quality, go to PNGs, but also increases file size. So the PNG is going to be about 1.62 megabytes, whereas the JPEG at medium is going to be about 155 kilobytes, so much, much smaller. And this isn't just partial image. It has the whole image. You can just drag and drop, move it around. This can't fit the whole thing in that screen. I'm going to click on Save to save this image for web. I'm going to have to give it a name. Let's say agency meeting. And now let's move Photoshop off the screen again. And now we have the file that used to be over 12 megabytes is now down to 159 kilobytes. So that's awesome. So let's go back here. Let's actually add this image to the page. Click on the section where you want it. Click on the 6 dots. Click on Style. Click on Classic. Choose an image for the background. I'm going to upload this image by dragging and dropping. Click on Insert Media. And now we have our image stretching the full width, but there's no content, so that it doesn't have the full height. In fact, when you publish this, I believe it's going to have 0 height, so you won't even see the image. So you need to have it have a height. 2 ways to do this. You can add text in there, or you can define a height. At the beginning, I like to define a height and then add the text in later, and then I can adjust the height as we go. So for size, I'm actually going to choose cover, just to make sure it covers the whole thing. And this makes more sense. Let's do the height first. Makes more sense when I choose the height. So let's go to Layout. Let's go to Height. Let's choose Minimum Height. You can choose Fit to Screen, which would fit it to the whole screen. Not what we want. Minimum Height. And we can set a minimum height. Let's make it 400 pixels. We want the position middle. Content position middle. Go back to Style. Position, I want to have center, and I want to have this not repeating. You see the image repeating in the back? So the repeat is going to be no repeat, and the size is going to be cover. So it's the full size of the element that we have. And if we close this, we see it gets even bigger. And at this size, even that JPEG is getting a little bit pixelated. So you might want to choose a PNG, or you might not. But it depends on what this area is for. But we're going to have this as a background, so it's not going to be super important that's higher quality, because we're also going to grade out a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is move this image up. I'm going to do that by going to Advanced, clicking on this little chain to unlink these parameters here. And for the margin, I'm going to use my arrows. That's going to take too long. I'm just going to add a number. Let's do minus 100. Let's do minus 150, 160, 180. Okay, 190. Drive a hard bargain. Minus 190. So now we've moved the image using negative margin right up to the top. So we have the image at the top, which is great. What we don't have, that's great, is no darkness. There's a very bright image, and our light colored menu doesn't appear very well with that dark image in the back. So we are going to go to Style, go to Background Overlay, and we can overlay colors or CSS filters onto the image. So if you want to do a color, just go to Background Type, Color, and you can overlay a black color or a green or whatever your site color is, you can overlay on here. I'm going to choose just a darker color here. Black is a pretty solid choice. I had it at black, then I changed it. So we're back to black. Change the opacity. If you go to 1, it's just a black background. That might not be what you're going for. If you go to 0, then there's no point in having an overlay. So you want to be somewhere between 0 and 1, and you just choose the appropriate darkness, how you like to have it. That's pretty good. So you can have it like that where there's really no depth to it, but you can choose a gradient as well. And you can add a second color and have some depth. The second color of pink might not be ideal for this site, but we can add, let's see. Oh, this is blue's pretty good. We can change the location of the gradient. You can see the gradient line moving as I change this number. In the second color location, you can see it moving up as I change that number. You can change the type to linear or radial. Radial is circular. Linear is a straight line. Change the angle so you can rotate the gradient so it's not from top to bottom, it's left to right or top to left or any kind of angle you want. I kind of like this angle like this. Change the opacity again over here. You can change the blend mode. This is advanced color imagery. The blending, just go through and pick them and then see what they look like and decide whether you like that or not. I'm going to choose normal. Normal is actually the one I most commonly use for the blend mode. I'm not going to add a border or anything because we don't need one. So now we have our hero image, but we want to add some content. So let's add some content right up in here. I'm going to add a heading. And I'm going to change the heading text to, we are, I guess I got to stick with the logo a little bit. So let's go, we are WP Learning Lab Creative Design. Even though it's not what we are, I'm just going to put that in there. I'm going to change it to an H1 tag because this is going to be the most important headline on the page. So I'm going to make that an H1. I'm going to center it. For the size, I'm going to change the size more granular instead of small, medium, large, XL. I'm going to change it under style. So here the text color I'm going to make white. Under typography I'm going to change the size here and we're going to make it pretty big, pretty big. I'm going to transform it to all caps, not capitalized, sorry, uppercase. Boom. That's pretty thick. Let's change the weight to normal. There, that's a bit better. And I think that might be a little too wide across the screen. So I'm going to add in a little padding to shrink that down. Do that in just a minute. Letter spacing you can adjust here if you want. If you're very creative, you can change the kerning or the letter spacing. Change the line height if you need to. There's various applications for that. We might cover some in this tutorial if they come up. If not, then we won't. Text shadow, nice little effect to have the text kind of pop off the page a little bit. It's hard to see in this case. Let's see if we amp up the darkness here. I might be able to see it better. So we change the vertical, change the horizontal. We kind of have the words popping off the page a little bit, like they're floating above the image, far above the image in this case. Change the blend mode for that. I'm going to just change it to a little less standout-ish, a little more see-through, transparent. Okay, there we go. Go to advanced, change the padding. Going to click on this link to unlink them. Going to change the left and right padding. Let's add 50 pixels on the right and 50 on the left. Let's add 100 and 100. The more I add, the more likely it is that the words are going to go to 2 lines. So 100 is not enough. If we ramp this up to 300, we see we're getting onto 2 lines now. So now we have it on 2 lines. You can also have 2 separate headlines. So you can duplicate this by right-clicking on the element, clicking on duplicate, have the bottom one say creative design, have the top one say we are WP Learning Lab, if that's how you want to do it. I don't want to do it in this case. That makes it harder to move things around if you do it that way. But now we have our headline here, and what I want to do is move it up. So I'm going to go to the margin, I'm going to add some negative margin at the top. A little more than that. There we go. So we're not in this guy's eyeball, we're above their heads. Sometimes you move elements around based on the image in the background, but also when you're designing for responsiveness, you never know what's going to go. So it's, it's kind of hit or miss depending on which images you use. But I think that's pretty good for that headline. I want to add a call to action below this as well. So I'm going to add, let's see, we'll add some text. Just going to look it up. Text. The text editor widget. I'm going to call this, I'm going to say, we create awesome YouTube tutorials to help you reach your goals online. Boom. Drop the mic. Go to style. Make the color white. Center it. Make it bigger. That's pretty good. I don't want to have that be capitalized. It's going to make it normal. It's not going to work because I hard coded that. All right, there. Turns out studies show that having title case, so every letter being capitalized, is less approachable than having regular sentence case for headlines. True story. Look it up. So now we have our subtext there. Looks great. I'm going to add a button down below. So I'm going to add a button, just drag and drop it in. I'm going to call this button request a sponsored video. All right, let's center that. Let's make it medium so it's visible. You can add an icon to these. There are lots and lots of icons to choose from. Let's see, there's a video icon. There's one. Video camera, that's pretty good. Change the icon spacing, meaning how close it is to the words. You can change it from before or after. I'm going to put mine after. I'm going to change the color. Not going to have this be a link right now. You can change the color by using changing the type. So there's info, warning, success, and danger. And in fact, danger is a good option because red is contrasting with all the blues and the whites on the page. So I'm going to choose danger. If you want to change the button color a little more specifically, besides just these 5 options, go to style. We can change the button color in here. We can change the typography of the button, text size, a bit bigger. Let's do a bit bigger. There we go. And the same typography options as before for all the other options, for all the other widgets. If you hover over the button right now, nothing happens. But if you click on hover, we can choose some hover options. So I'm going to add an animation. I'm going to make it pulse grow like that. That's very nice. And then I'm going to change the hover color. Here's the drawback with using danger or one of those predefined options. We don't know what color that is specifically. So I'm actually going to set the color under normal. Now go to background color. Now choose red. Or orange or something that stands out. Depends on what colors your site has already. I'm going to copy the hex code. Click on hover, click on background color, and paste the hex code in here. You want to precede it with a pound sign, otherwise it won't work, or hashtag or whatever you want to call that guy. And we want to actually adjust the color a little. So this positions the color at the same spot as it was for the regulars, but this is for hover. So we want to have it change slightly for hover. Maybe make it a little lighter so people know they're hovering. And you can hover and see what that looks like. Looks a little pale, maybe a little less. Or maybe green means go. Let's make it green. So green means go for request a sponsored video. That pulse grow is very distracting. So I'm going to change this to, let's see, something a little more subtle. Buzz is probably not subtle. That's not subtle. You know what? I'm just going to get rid of the animation and we're just going to have our hover color. People know they're hovering based on the color, so that's good enough. Now we have our header completed for all intents and purposes. But the last thing I want to do is make sure this works well on mobile phones and tablets. To do that, click on responsive mode down here and choose tablet. And this is how it looks on a tablet. Currently not great because we have all that padding for our title here. So let's fix that. Let's click on the title. Let's go to style, advanced. And now you'll see we have multiple options for our margins and paddings and various other things as well. So we have the desktop, the tablet, which we're currently on, highlighted in blue, and then the mobile phone. If we're not in responsive mode, let's go back to desktop. We see we have just desktop here. If we click on there, it's kind of a shortcut to responsive mode. Click on the device you want, tablet or phone, and then it goes to that device. And then we can change the margin specific to just the tablet. I'm going to change the padding. Let's make it all 0. Now we're back to something a lot better. We want to change the setting, or sorry, the section background to, unfortunately we can't click it because it's behind the menu. So we need to be able to click those 6 dots to get back there. It's not really a bug in Elementor, but it's something that kind of annoys me because it's hard to work around. So how I do it is I click on this little stacked navigator icon, click on the section, and then that opens the section. And this navigator is something that will come in very useful as we build more onto this page. I just haven't shown you yet because it hasn't been that useful yet. But now it is, because this section that's hidden behind the nav menu, we can just click on it here to get to it. I'm going to rename this section as well, just so we know what it's called. Let me rename it. There we go. Call this the header. And inside of here, we can see all the elements that are in that section. It's very handy. So let's go back to Advanced, Padding, Tablet, and now we're going to click on the section to select it. Now we're selecting our, the margin is what we wanted. So the margin top, let's make it -50, minus, what was it? It was 190 before. Let's make it 210. 220, minus 220 is pretty good. And I want to get this text here on one line. So let's go to Style, Typography. We're on mobile. Let's shrink the size. So it's just 1. I don't mind that button the way it is. Looking pretty good. You'll notice there's a hamburger menu right here. Menu flies out over there. We can't adjust that because this is built by OceanWP, not by Elementor. With Elementor Pro, you can adjust a lot of stuff with the hamburger menu. So next, we're going to go to the phone. Let's go to the phone. Again, we need some work on the sizing. So first, let's move this whole thing up to the top by changing our margin again. We're at -210 for the tablets. Let's go to -250. Take out the margin bottom. Have to unlink it. I might not have done that for the tablet. Okay, 250 is not enough. 270, 280, 290, 300. 300 works. Go back to the tablet, unlink it, get rid of this bottom margin. All right, now I want to change the text size on the phone. That's a bit better. I want to change the line height for this one so they're not so far apart. Change the text size, make it a bit smaller, make this one a bit bigger so you know it's a headline. Change this button so it looks as it should. Change the text size, make the text size a little smaller. Not too small, not so you can't read it. There we go, that's pretty good. We can change the height of this entire thing for mobile phones. So let's go to Content. Let's make sure we select the section, change our min height for mobile phones to, let's see, that's pretty good. Hasn't changed actually, but we'll address that later on. Something to address as well is this issue that we have up here with the menu system on mobile phones. That doesn't look good. So let's head out and fix this menu area, and then we'll adjust the sizing on the phones. So the menus are done in OceanWP in the theme, so we have to exit the Elementor builder. Or actually we can just go out here because we have this page open. Let's just go back in the dashboard through this page. Leave the Elementor builder open here. We can just refresh that in a few minutes. So if we go back to our dashboard, go to Appearance and then Customize. We can now work with the menu up here. If we head over to Header, and then let's say try Mobile Menu, see what happens in there. Let's click on Mobile at the very bottom so we see what the site looks like on mobile. So here's our mobile menu. Let's change the background color. Let's go to the main menu, or header in general, I mean, where we change the color for the main menu. Select the background color, change the opacity to not 0. There we go, now I have something going on. Okay, now let's go back into mobile menu. And all we really want to do is just fix the spacing. The logo I think should be a little smaller, and then I don't mind if the menu's up on the right or the menu in the center. Really depends on what the theme can do. If you have Elementor Pro, you can do this very granular. You can position things exactly where you want them. With themes, you kind of have to follow their rules. So if we can get it to look somewhat acceptable, I'll be very happy. Let's just replace the image or the logo with a smaller logo. Let's go to select image over here. Let's drag and drop this smaller one. Choose image. Sometimes, depending on the theme, you can just adjust the size of the image on mobile, and sometimes you just can't. Let's change the max height of the logo, and let's use that. Let's do more than 0. Let's use that to adjust the height, which is what I was just talking about. So you can adjust it here. Let's just go up until it's, a pretty good size. I think that's a pretty good size. Got a logo here, menu here. I'm pretty happy with that. If I click on menu, it opens the slider on the sidebar. We can change that here with mobile menu style. If we choose drop down, that will now create a drop down when you click on the menu, right down below. And if you choose full screen, then it will go full screen when you click menu. Like so. That little blue pencil won't be there. That's just part of the customizer, so that won't be there. And this line is for the search bar. I prefer the drop down. You can choose to display the menu text, which is the word menu, and then the word close when you open the menu, by checking that box. I like to have it there because not everybody knows. Most people do these days, but not everybody knows what that hamburger icon is, which is the mobile menu icon. So I like to keep it there. You can change the word menu to whatever you like, close to whatever you like as well. You can choose a different icon for the hamburger. You can choose a custom one from these options here, or you can choose Font Awesome. So if we go to, show you how that works, go to fontawesome.com maybe, or maybe .io, I think it is actually. Oh, no, it is .com. Okay, so we go to Font Awesome, go to icons, and here we have 3,978 different icons. Some of them are for pro, some of them are for everybody. So let's go to free only, and these are all the free ones. And all we need to do to find an icon, just one for example's sake, let's take the balance scale here. We get these guys, FA balance scale, and we put that into the customizer, put that in there, see if that works. Yeah, there it is, balance scale, updated immediately. You feel we have the balance scale there now. I'm going to undo this to go back to the hamburger. And you can choose any of these icons. Any Font Awesome icon will work in this bar right here on this input field. And FA is just short for Font Awesome. That's how I knew it was a Font Awesome. So the drop-down menu, I want to disable the search bar. Let's start with that. So now when you click on it, there's no search bar. I don't feel searching on mobile is great. You can adjust the height. So if you want the menu to display very small, you're not going to see all the choices and you have to scroll down. And that kind of scrolling on a mobile is a little inconvenient. So if you go above the max height of whatever the menu is already, it'll just not get any bigger. So it just goes to where it is, which is this height right here, which I like. Background color, I want to choose a light color. Hopefully we can make a divider. Borders, that is a divider. Let's see what these look like. So let's do a little lighter. There we go. That looks pretty nice. Now the link color, I like to keep it how it is. The hover color on the links is fine. Hovering on mobile doesn't really happen. You touch things, you don't really hover on things. But anyway, now we have a much more acceptable mobile menu. Now we're just going to go back and change the background color back to white. Or sorry, transparent, not white. Put that back to the transparent. Boom. Publish. Now we head over here. Let's refresh this page. And hopefully I saved my changes that I did most recently. I should have. Let's see if I did. Looks like I did. Let's go to the mobile option. And there we have a much better looking mobile menu. That's pretty good, I think. Now let's fix the spacing for this a little bit. So I want to move the header down a little. Click the lock. I kind of like that right there. All I do is set it to 0. Move that down a little bit. Click the lock, margin. I prefer to add margin to the top elements and always have margin below so it's always organized. Otherwise, you might be getting margin from who knows where. So I'm going to add margin below here just to move everything down a little bit. That moved it up inadvertently. So in this case, what I just said is not going to be true because this is the very top element. So I add a bit of margin to the top. Mostly I add margin to the bottom of things. So add margin to the bottom of this to move the button down a little bit. Let's move that down there. Let's add some more margin on top here, because it's centering itself within the element. And then I kind of like having the background image be the full height of the screen, the viewport. So let's go to header to select the whole section. Minimum height for mobile. Let's make it the full screen. And then on tablet, we can make it full screen also, but I'm not going to in this case. I'm going to add some more spacing for the tablet. Going to, on this guy, margin bottom of, let's make it 60 pixels. This guy, margin bottom of 60, let's do more, 90 pixels. And this guy, bit of margin top, move it down a little bit, 60 pixels. Now we have it pretty nicely well laid out, I guess. I think it's pretty good. Mobile menu as well for tablet. And then we go back to desktop and we have the full screen desktop. And there we have our header completed. Let's save this and see how it looks. Exit the customizer here, and we're going to set the home page. If we go to the site right now, the home page is just a list of blog posts. That's the default setting for WordPress. So we need to set the home page. So let's go to settings and then reading, choose static page, choose home page, click save changes. Come back out here, refresh this page, and now we have our header. Boom. That's looking pretty good. And our footer is right here. So we had to add some more stuff between the header and the footer to actually make a website. So we're going to add some more stuff now, starting with a little services section. So let's go into reading. Sorry, not reading. Let's close out of reading and go back into here. And before I do that, I just want to add a little more space here. Margin bottom on this guy, 60. Margin bottom on this guy, 50. And margin top of, that's pretty good. Okay, now let's add some more things down below. Click on the plus icon to add another section. Enter that in there. Boom, section right there. I'm going to make it full width. I'm going to stretch it because I want this site to be the whole width of the page. Click on the grid icon. Drag and drop the inner section. Not intersection, but the inner section. Now we can add columns inside of our sections. And before I do that, I'm just going to rename my section here. Rename it to services because I'm going to list some services here. And we're going to start these off. I should not start off. I'm going to do it with an image box. Now this image box, I'm just going to put in nothing specific to me or anything, just random stuff that you might want to put in here. Sponsored videos. Change the text down here. So here I have a nice description now. We need to choose an image. So let's go back over to here because I want to add people to these images. I'm going to say video. You know what? Hang on a second. No, yeah. I'm going to stay with video. Oh, this one looks pretty nice. Look at that. Looks like a pretty good sponsored video right there. Sponsored video image. And this again is a giant image, 7 megabytes. I'm going to compress the size using Photoshop again. The same process we did earlier, so I'm not going to show it to you again. I don't want to bore you with it, but it's the same process we did earlier in the video, and I'm just going to compress the image to fit it in there. All right, I've got the image. I'm going to click on this little icon here to add it. Then we upload it. There we go. Click on insert. That's looking pretty good. Image size. You can choose custom sizes. Doesn't get much bigger than that one. Thumbnails. I'm going to stick with full. You can add a link to your image down here. I'm just going to link this to nowhere. I'm just going to add a pound to link to nowhere. You can change the title tag. That's an H3 right now. I'm going to keep it as an H3. You can choose to center all of it. Center left align or right align. I'm going to stick with center. Under style, we can then go ahead and adjust the spacing. So we want to add the spacing below the image or adjust it below the image. We can. The width of the image, I want to make mine nice and big. Not too big, not overwhelming. How about like that? That's pretty good. Hover animation. You can choose to have a hover animation on the image. I'm not going to have a hover for this case here. You can also change the colors and opacity on hover. So for hover, we could have the opacity go to 7.8. So when you hover, you have a bit of a fade out of the image to let people know that you're on the image. I kind of like that effect. I'm going to do that. For content, this is the text itself. We can change the spacing between the title and the words. We can change the typography of the title. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to make the color black. I'm going to change the spacing between the image and the title, get them closer together. There we go. Now I'm going to change the description a little, make it a little bit bigger, the font a bit bigger. There we go. That's pretty good, I think. Maybe a little too big. I tend to err on the side of too big sometimes. Let's make these all a little bit smaller. There. And just as before, wherever you see these icons for desktop computers, you can click on them and make changes for mobile and tablet, specific for those sections. So we can also center the content, left align, right align, justify. This is different than before because before the image was shifting as well. Now everything stays stacked and we just change the alignment in the same order. But before, the image was actually going to the right side. So if we go back out here for demonstration purposes, we see the image now on the left, on the right, on top, in the center. Then the alignment under style and content, it keeps the same stacking order, but it just adjusts where things sit. So if we're happy with how this looks, we can then go ahead and duplicate this thing. So I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to drag and drop the second one over to here. And now we have two side by side. And in fact, I'm going to edit the columns. I'm going to add a new column. So because I want three of them. So I'm going to duplicate this one again, right clicking, duplicate, drag and drop. Got another one. And I'm going to change the image. While you weren't looking, I made two more images. I made this one and I made this one. I didn't make them. I downloaded them and shrunk them to size. Didn't make them. And this one is going to be, let's see, I work on computers when I'm not playing with my kids. I work on computers. I make videos. I write code. I watch funny cat videos. How about I change this one to tutorials so it's not videos twice? There. I make tutorials, I write code, I watch funny cat videos. Pretty good. Second one, or the third one, sorry. Let's change the image to this. Let's call this custom courses. So for this one, I said custom courses. We'll create custom courses for your product, service, plugin, or theme. It'll be white labeled with your branding, and you'll receive all of the editable video files to do with as you see fit. That is also a service I provide. So I do sponsored videos, I do custom courses, I work on the computer. So I guess when I said earlier it wasn't going to be about me, it actually is. Anyway, now we are going to add some buttons, because if people are interested in these things, they're going to want to be able to click on them. So let's go back to the grid. Let's choose a button. Let's go up to our button up here. Let's right click on it, copy, right click on this button, and paste style. Now I have the same style as the button up above. That way we can maintain consistency throughout the website. So I'm going to call this Learn More. I'm going to have them all be called Learn More, actually. I might change the icon for each. So let's go Select an icon. Let's call this one video camera. I want it to be after. Let's duplicate this button. Put it right there. Duplicate this button again. Put it right there. Let's change this one to be video file. Let's change this one to be a computer. No computer. Device. Okay, fine. Let's change it to be a window. So now we have our buttons in place. What you'll notice is there is a difference in height. So something that I quite often do, might not be the best thing to do, but I do it, I will extend my text to make sure the button fits. So I'm just going to extend this text to make sure the text is all on 5 lines to make sure all the buttons fit. Okay, now we have all our content in 5 lines, looking pretty good. And we have some decisions to make. Something we can do that's pretty nifty is move this section up above the other one. So right now we have the sections stacked, but we can move it up a little bit and have these sections as cards overlaid on the top. I'm just going to show you what I mean by that. So if we go to click on the 6 icons here, 6 buttons, 6 dots, go to advanced, change the margin top of -50, maybe 60, 70, 80, -110. Now we go to each one of these and we change the background color. Go to advanced, go to background type, color, white. I'm going to go to advanced, change the padding, top of 20 pixels to move this image down a little bit. And now we have this card overlaid on top of this image up here. Let's right click on here, copy, right click on here, paste style. Right click on here, paste style. Look at that. That is pretty fancy looking, if you ask me. Of course, this is one of those things you want to test on mobile to make sure it all works as it should. What I usually do, we did the mobile header and tablet header right after we built the header, but what I usually do is build the whole website and then do the mobile afterwards, because then I can adjust everything in bulk. So we'll hold off editing these until we're done the home page. So now we have our services in place. Well, now we're going to add, let's just add something about what we're good at. That's pretty common for these kind of things. I'm going to select a full width, going to stretch it, make it full width, and then I'm going to go back to the grid icon up here to see all our widgets, and I'm going to add a progress bar. Let's drag and drop that into there. Oh, that's pretty nice. My skill, say skills, because I have more than one. Clearly, we can change the colors again, same ones we saw before. I'm going to make this actually more than one column. So let's add another column and drag and drop this to the column on the right. I'm going to add some text on the left and a header as well, or heading. So I can drag and drop it again like we did there. I could duplicate, I can't actually, that's part of that widget. So I can't duplicate it, so I'm going to drag and drop it. So I'm going to call this my skills. I'm going to, from memory, see if I can recreate that. I probably can right down to the size. How big is this? Style, typography, under content, spacing is 13, size is 35. Okay, so just for consistency's sake, let's make the style here, or the size, 35. That's pretty good. For the text, so here's some text. Here's a list of all my skills. And I'm going to increase the size of this to match the size of this one, which was, go back in here, content, description, size of 16. Let's copy that. Go to style, typography, size of 16. There we go. Here, we're going to get rid of the My Skills headline, just delete what we have here. That'll be gone. And now we want to add some more skills. So we have Web Designer as a skill here, and that's great. We also want to add some more stuff. So let's duplicate this Web Designer skill. You know what? Let's customize it first. So Web Designer, percentage of 82 at least. Show percentage or hide percentage, up to you. Under style, we can change the color, change the background color, change the inner color. In this case, it works pretty well with what I have going on, but I'm going to change it anyway. So let's change the color to something that stands out. A little purpley. Change the background color, which is the color that extends beyond whatever your level is. Unless you're 100% at everything, you're going to have a background color showing. And I'm going to make mine a light gray, which is what it was, but I'll just make it light gray again. And text color on the inside is the text that's on the inside. I'm going to keep mine as white, so that looks best. And the title style is what applies to the title. And we removed the title earlier, which was My Skills, but there is no title now, so the title styles and title text color don't apply. We also have the ability to set margins and backgrounds for this element, but we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to duplicate this one now and duplicate it again and again. Now we have a list of our skills. You can add some more text here to balance this out a little bit. I'm just going to leave that how it is. I'm going to delete this section up here. Got an extra section that was there. You might want to add padding and spacing between these areas sometimes. There's a couple ways you can do that. Click on the dots for the section. Go to Advanced. Go to Margin Bottom. Add 60 pixels. That's pretty good. Add some margin at the bottom. Maybe you want this section to have some color, background color. So we go to, click on the section of 6 dots, go to Style, go to Background, choose, what are we going to choose? Let's choose a solid color, actually. Solid color background of, let's see, a little lighter blue. Change this font to be black. Add some padding. Padding is what goes inside of elements. So the margin that we applied just a moment ago separates these two sections. Then the padding is a space within a section. So if we go to Advanced and add padding of 50 pixels, we see the blue area gets bigger. But we don't need the pixels on the right and left, or padding in this case, on the right and left. I'm just going to delete those. Keep them on top and bottom. And then we can also add entrance animations for these sections if you want. It's usually not necessary, but just to show what that looks like, go to Update, come back out here, go to the top, refresh our page. Now we have our new elements in here. If we scroll down, we're going to see that skills section pop in like that. It's pretty neat. It can be used to great effect if you want to. So you can animate all these sections, all sections that you want to animate. Under responsive, you can also turn sections off on different viewports. So you can hide them on desktop, tablet, or mobile. So you could create an entirely different looking section just for mobile. So you'd have two sections here. One is visible only on desktop, the other ones are visible only on mobile. You can reverse columns. This reverses the order. So let's just shrink this down to a phone. And the way things happen is the column on the right always goes below the column on the left. So on desktop, My Skills is on the left. These progress bars are on the right, and they go to the bottom. We can click on reverse columns on mobile. And then if we're on a tablet, we can go to reverse columns on a tablet, which reverses them back and forth. But if these were stacking on a tablet, it would change them top to bottom. But if we go back to our mobile phone, by reversing those columns, you can put the correct thing, hopefully, on top. Because sometimes you want the thing on the right to be on the top. Quite often with menu systems and logos, you want that to happen. And that's how you do it with reverse columns. Go at the desktop. I think we're getting pretty close to a finished homepage. I'm not going to spend all week making this homepage because you kind of get the idea what we're doing. We still have to create a couple more pages as well to have an actual website. So I'm going to add a contact area. I'm going to create another 2-column section. I'm going to add make it stretch it, make it full width first. Go back to our grid, add a Google map on the right, and Coca-Cola London Eye. That's perfect. That's our headquarters right there. Awesome. On the left side, let's add a heading. I'm going to call this Drop Us a Line. This is not going well so far. There we go. I'm just going to copy this section. Copy that and then paste in the style. And here, let's go to these section options. Notice how they're in the center like that? That's because we kept the content boxed. And I think I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Because maybe we don't want to stretch this section full width. Looks a lot better like this. So drop us a line. We want to have a form. The free version of Elementor does not have forms. So we got to make a form using a different plugin. There are lots and lots and lots and lots of plugins to make forms. A really good free one is Ninja Forms. So I'm going to go to Plugins and Add New and look up Ninja Forms. And it's this guy up here. Click on Install Now, then Activate. Now we have our Ninja Forms. If we go to Ninja Forms right here, new menu item added, go to Add New. I'm going to choose a bunch of templates to choose from here. I'm just going to choose a Contact Us form by clicking on it. And I'm not going to go into customizing this form editor. There's another tutorial on the channel, linked to up above, where I do show you how to use Ninja Forms and customize it. But I'm going to keep this how it is right here. And I want to publish it. I got to go through all these options here. Preview form. That's how it's going to look. It's full screened right now because it just fits the element width or the space of the container. It won't be like that when we've actually put it on the page. And our publish icon is grayed out. Not entirely sure why that is right now. There we go. Publish it. Now let's click this X and get the form shortcode, which is right here. Copy this one. I believe this is the one I just made. I don't know why there's two. There's one that was auto-made when the plugin was installed. Now we're going to drag in or pop in the shortcode right there. Look for shortcode widget. Wait till the blue line appears. There it is. Paste in our shortcode. And now we're going to have our form appear on the live page, and it should also appear in the editor eventually. There it is. Let's see if we can change the height of this Google map to match the height of the form. Our height, that's pretty easy. So the height of the form goes to about there. Looks pretty good. You can choose whether to prevent scroll or not. When you're scrolling on a page, if you scroll over a map element like this, the map will start scrolling and your page will stop scrolling sometimes. So if you choose no on this, then you can actually scroll like this. And depending on your browser, or depending on the map setup, it might actually be scrolling when you scroll over it. It's pretty annoying. But now you have to click and drag for this functionality. If you want to prevent scroll, just click on yes, and it's going to stay centered on whatever your location is, and the people can't scroll or zoom in. They can still zoom in, right? No, it looks like they can't zoom in or zoom out or do anything. They can just look at the map and that's it. You can change the address on the map by entering it here. And that's really all the map options that we have. Change some styling, not very much. Could add a CSS filter. Can make the map blurry, which kind of defeats the purpose of the map. So we're not going to do that. But now we have what looks like a pretty good homepage. It's pretty good. Let's go to the front end here, visit the site, see how this thing looks. Menu, logo, headline, call to action, services, my skills. Use some padding between these two. Let's add some padding right here. Or add some margin, I should say. margin below on this one, or margin bottom. Make this 60 pixels. And I want to do something with this gradient background. This background is, I don't know, kind of blah. So let's go to style. Let's go to gradient. Let's make this light bluey, greeny, turquoise, like that. Let's change the angle. So it's like that there. That's much more visually interesting. Let's increase the padding a little bit so people take this element seriously. There's not enough padding, they won't take it seriously. Okay, let's update that. Refresh this page and watch how we just leveled up this area. Just by doing that simple gradient, add some more padding. That's much better. I think it's much better anyway. We'll look even better with some more text here. Not going to do that now, but we have a functioning, pretty decent looking homepage here. So now we're going to go ahead and build another page. Before I do, I'm going to do some housekeeping. We added some sections but didn't name them. So let's stay organized. Let's name this third section My Skills, and the fourth section drop us a line or contact or something that makes you understand what it is when you're looking just at the navigator. Now here's the power of the navigator. If you want to change anything, find it, click on it. It takes you right to it, opens it in the left-hand side so you can start editing. Or click on something. If you're not sure where it is, it shows you where it is on the navigator. And you can progress through things and go back and forth. Super easy to use, super handy. So now let's add the About page, because that's the next one. Oh, services. Let's do services. That's the next one. So let's make sure we save it. Click on Update again. Then go down out to here, exit the dashboard. And now we're not going to edit the home page anymore. We're going to go to All Pages and see what we have going on. We have this old one from before. I'm going to trash that one. Do a little more housekeeping. Services. This was published when I was doing the menu system earlier. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to go to Edit. Click on Edit with Elementor. And now we see we have another blank page to work with. So I'm going to go back down to the gear here, page layout, make it Elementor full width. Now we're working with the same thing that we had on the other page. There's a lot of stuff that's not quite here because we haven't built this page. On this home page, I'm going to click on Edit with Elementor right here. And I want to copy the header section. So I'm just going to right click on the header area. Make sure you don't click on elements. You can see on element was outlined like that. I want to make sure you click on the section and click on copy. Then go to your new page. Might be able to copy right here. Paste. Yeah, don't have to make a new section. Just paste it right in. And now we have an exact copy of that section on this page. I want to do this because I'm going to have a header on all subpages using this image at the top. We're going to change some things here though. I'm going to call this services. Maybe call it our services. I'm just going to have this be home/services. I'm going to change the margin down below this one to, let's change it to 25. Bring this closer together. I'm going to remove this button. I'm going to right click on it and click delete. I'm going to shrink this whole area. So let's click on the header section to select it. Min height, shrink it right down. Right down, that's pretty good. Move services down because it's way too high now. Margin top of 50, 90, 120, 170, 140 is good. Let's change the size of this thing too. Typography, change it to that. This guy, change the typography to that. I'm going to move them closer together still. Margin bottom of 0, because all elements have a little bit of margin on their own. Change this margin bottom to 0. Move this one up a little bit. So let's make this 100. I think that's pretty good. So this is going to be the standard header for all of our pages. I actually want this woman's face in here, not just her chest. Let's see if we can get her face in here. So let's go to background, under style, background, position, top, center. That's not quite how I want it either. Let's see, default. Looks like it's not going to be flexible enough. What I could do, I can make this top center, go and edit this image and just cut off wherever I want the very top of the image to be. So if I wanted her head to be just on the top, just crop this image right along that white line pretty much. It'll move the image up to have her head right up there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it at center, where we had it. At least we have 3 people in here. And now I'm going to add some more content. So we have our services header done. This will be the same for our contact header and about header later on. But right now we have our services. And I believe we have a services section right here. Click on the services section. Let's copy this whole thing. Let's just right click on the navigator, copy, come back to here, right click, paste, boom, services section. What we don't want is to have that margin. So I don't want those overlapping anymore. So I'm going to change the margin top, change it back to 0. And now it's back down in its own row. Much cleaner that way. And as you can tell, once you build some components on the site, it's really easy to move them around and create sites fast using the free version of Elementor. The pro version goes even faster. Now we're going to add another section here. I'm going to add a 2-column section. I'm going to make it boxed. Stretch, which means the sides will stretch. So if we had a background color, they'd be stretched, but the content itself will be boxed. I'm going to add an image on the right. And I'm just going to find an image of some people working under photos, working. Let's try office. That one's pretty good. Download this one. I'm going to compress or optimize this image for web again because that's 11.5 megabytes, way too big. I'm going to pause the video while I do that. It's the same process that I had earlier in the video. Just not going to bore you with it. I'm going to upload the image by clicking on Choose Your Image. I will drag and drop it over. I'm going to pretend this is a client meeting. Insert, and I will insert some text here. And I want to copy the text I had over here. So I'm going to copy this little bit here, copy that, paste it here. I want to copy this blurb as well, paste it right below. Did it not copy? Let's try that again. Copy. There we go. So I want to call this our process. And I'm just going to add some text here. I'm going to make the text the height of the image so that it's balanced. There we go. We have our text, but the same size as the image. And if you don't want these columns to be equal, you can actually hover over this dotted line and you can adjust them back and forth. So if you find your text isn't quite cutting it, or you want a bigger image, you can drag, or a smaller image for that matter, you can drag it however you want it. This is like a 1990s website here with tiny images, and this is more of a 2018 website, 2019 website with giant images. But you will find the perfect spot for your image or for your columns. So you can define them kind of eyeballing it like that, or if you go to Style, is that right? Click on this column icon, there it is. The column width, you can adjust specifically here. Since we only have 2 columns, type in whatever value we want. We can also adjust for mobile, as we can see with this icon here. Click on the icon, choose a different size, and you can adjust as needed. So on tablet, while we're here, we can't drag and drop this on tablet. So I'm going to call this first column width of, you know what? I don't want columns on tablet. I want this section to be reversed on tablet. So let's go to advanced, go to responsive, reverse on tablet, reverse on phones. So now if we go to tablet, it's not quite how I want. On mobile, it's how I want. The image on top, the text down below. On tablet, let's see, if I make this width here 100%, now we have it. This image has to be bigger for tablet as well. Let's go to style, change the width to, that's the full size of that section area. This column, make that 100. There we go. Now we got the same thing on tablet and mobile phones, where we have the image on top, the process down below, on mobile phone, on tablet, and on desktop. It looks like this. So that's looking pretty good. We've got our header, our services, our process. Maybe for good measure, we'll copy our skills element in here too, because who doesn't want to know your skills if they want to hire you for services, right? You could add a little white space down below here, click on the 6 dots, go to margin bottom, 60 is what I'm using for all the sections. And there we go. And then following that, maybe we want to add some team members down below here. Let's go to the grid icon. Team members is not an option for the free version, so we're going to add another plugin. Just like we added the contact form plugin, we're going to add a plugin for the team members for the free Elementor. The paid one has a add-on or has a widget for the team members. The free one doesn't. So if we go to plugins and add new, we can go to Elementor team or search for that. Let's get this first one up top here. There's a lot of Elementor add-ons, as you can see. We're going to choose this first one up here. Go to install now, activate. There are no settings to do. If we go to elements, you can turn off and on ones that you want to add. Contact Form 7 is another form builder. It's a free one. It's not great. I mean, it's fine, but it's not a WYSIWYG editor, not drag and drop, so it's not great. They have Ninja Forms widget too. And there's a bunch of premium elements. So for the free one, what we really wanted was the team. So let's see if they have the team. It should be in here, right? Team member. There it is. And countdown here is actually a pro element for Elementor. It's in here as well. So let's add the team member. Let's go back into this page here, click on update to save it, and then click on refresh to hopefully load in all the new widgets that we just added with that plugin. So you click this little down arrow here to collapse the areas, and here's the essential add-ons. So we have EA team member. Let's see how that looks. Let's add a new section, make it full width. Go back to the grid, get the team member add-on. I put it in the wrong spot. Made a section but didn't put it in the section. So here we can add an image for a team member. I'm going to click on choose image. I'm going to upload all 3 that I have. So we have 3 in our team member section currently, and she looks the most serious. I'll make her the CEO, so she'll be first. And that's big. Holy moly, it's big. That's okay. We're going to fix that in just a minute. So let's call her Carol James. She is the CEO, and she is the best darn CEO around. Good. Social profiles that we see down below here, we can edit in this section. Click on each individual one, and you can edit some things. Edit the icon and the link specifically. Go to style, and we can go ahead and edit the imagery and the way things are laid out. There are some presets. So we have the style preset of simple, which you see here, not much going on. Overlay style. So when you hover, it overlays the person's information. This will make more sense when there are more in a row. Let's just do that right now. Let's right click on the column here. Let's add a new column. Add another column. And then let's duplicate. So let's copy and then paste and then paste. And we'll add the others in just a minute, but now it makes a little more sense having that overlay because now it fills more of the box. The other options we have a centered style. Only available in Pro version, it says there. Circle style probably also Pro, and so is social bottom. So overlay is nice. I'm going to keep the simple. So all the info is right on the page. I didn't realize I was editing the last one, so I'm going to edit this one. So there we have her info down there. Member style image. We can change the image width if we want to. We can give it a border or no border. We can make the avatar rounded, which I like. I like the rounded look right now. In this case, it's more of an oval, but that's because our image is wide. Before we upload it, if it's a square image, this would be a circle. If this is a rectangular image, which it is, it's an oval. So there's not too much we can change after the fact in here. We can change the colors and things using the typography and color here. Social profile style, change the colors of the social profiles. I'm going to change them to a bluey color, which is more in line with the website color. There we go. That's pretty good. And then I'm going to go ahead and edit this one. I'm going to upload the image of Marcus, update his info, team member content. This is Marcus. He is the COO. He is, believe it or not, he's the best darn COO around. Social profiles, keep it as default. And this young lady here, let's call her Missy Jones. She is the CFO, and believe it or not, she's the best darn CFO around. Now to get these all looking the same, right click on whatever one you have done for styling wise. Click on copy, right click on a different one, click on paste style. Boom. Click on the last one, paste style. Boom, just like that. Easy peasy. Now we probably want to add a title up here because why wouldn't we, of course. So to do that, there's a couple different options. We can add a new section with a new title. And these two images are much bigger, as you can see. They're all full-size image, but Marcus is quite a bit lower. I didn't actually standardize the size of the image. Something you should always do is standardize image sizes, which I didn't do in this case. Either way, to add a title, we need to add a new widget. Let's go to basic, call it heading. There's no space to put it in here. It goes into each of the columns, but we want to have it at the top. So what we're going to do instead is put it in a new section. I'm going to call this team. I'm going to just copy the style from this guy right here. Paste it right there. And I want to center it. I want to move it above right there. Now we just have the section with the title of team and the section below it with our team members. I'm going to add some margin bottom here. 40 pixels, give it a little space. And I want to add a bottom border below team. Let's make it solid. Let's unlink this, make the bottom width, well, that's the top. Make the bottom width 1. And now we have our team section completed. So if we update this, click on the little preview icon, it opens it up in the full page, like you might see in real life. So we have our services here, our process here, our skills here, our team here. We're looking pretty good. Needs a little more white space. So I'm going to add some more white space up and bottom, top and bottom of this section here. I'm going to add it to the bottom of the services section, bottom of the header. So let's make this 60 pixels. That's a lot. Let's make that 40. And on the bottom of this guy, let's make it, go to advanced. On the right, let's say 25. It's not what I want. Margin, unlink them, 25. So now a space top and bottom. That looks pretty good. So I'm just going to leave that how it is. And I'm going to go ahead and publish this page. It's already published. Update this page. Come back out here, refresh it again. And there we are. I think we're good to go on the next section or the next page. So I'm going to go back out of here, exit the dashboard, and I'm going to go to add new, and I'm going to add a new page. I'm actually going to edit this with Elementor again because we're going to copy and paste certain sections. So let's go back in with Elementor. Sorry about that. And over here, let's go to new page. Try that again. No, it worked. Let's call this page About Us. Save draft. Edit with Elementor. And let's build the About page. It's like I accidentally created this as a post. So let's exit back out of here. Exit the dashboard. Got to make sure we're creating pages and not posts for what we're getting, or for what we're doing here. Let's go to posts and just delete what I created. Trash that about post. Go to pages, add new, call it about us, save draft, then edit with Elementor. And now we have something a little more familiar to work with. First thing we want to do is close that bottom bar and then create the full width. Go to settings, page layout, full width. Then we're going to copy the header, give us a little head start. Click on header or right click on it, copy, come back over here, paste. Change this to about us, services about, let's capitalize that, about. And now we go ahead and create the about page. Now on the about page, there's going to be a bit of duplication of what we have so far, because it's kind of often a lot of the same stuff. Because on the about, you want to have our team, because we are about our team. Our team is us. So let's paste our team in here. Paste the team, title, copy the picture, paste those in. Now we have our team. Let's add a new section in here. Let's make it a 2-column. Let's add an image on the right. Actually, you know what? Why reinvent the wheel? Let's copy this one. It's going to be kind of the same. So let's just delete this one and paste. I'm going to get a new image over here, make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to add an accordion over here. So let's just delete this. Oh, let's leave that there for now. Let's just get the accordion. I want to copy that in there. Get the accordion widget, drag and drop it in there. Accordion 1, accordion 2, and these can be clicked to open, so it can be more information. Like, let's see, what do we have in here? This is the about page, so maybe where are you located? Could be the first one. Accordion 2 could be FAQs, in case that first question didn't answer all the questions you ever had about this company. You can add another item. Let's call it, where are you going? And let's customize the design. I'm not going to customize the content at the moment, just going to customize the design. And I will indeed get rid of all these at the bottom. So let's right click there and delete it, right click there and delete it. And now we're going to have our content here. Let's go to style. For the title, let's add a background color of light gray, just so we know it's the title. Let's make the color of the text not black, but darkish gray. The title text, I mean. And then when you hover over it, I don't believe there's a hover option for these ones. I don't think there is. Well, we can make it bigger. Make the text a bit bigger, title's a bit bigger. There we go. Icon, let's change the icon spacing. Oh, that's pretty good. Let's change the active color. So we'll keep the color like that for when it's not in use. We'll change the active one to kind of a bluey, just for a subtle change. That's pretty good. And we can align these to the left or the right. I kind of like it on the left. Makes more sense there visually, I think. The content is the written material inside of the accordion. We can change the background. I won't in this case. We can change the color. I won't in this case. Maybe I will. To that. Change the text size. That's pretty good. And now we have an accordion. So we should add a title to this. Unfortunately, I deleted the title already. Let's duplicate it, then drag and drop it. There we go. Let's just call this questions. Questions we receive often. There we go. Get a new image for this guy. I'm going to pause it while I get a new picture in there. I got our picture. Click on the existing one. Click on the thumbnail on the left and upload the new one. Once it's uploaded, click on Insert Media. And now we have our new image on the right-hand side. And of course, we're on the About page. So what do we need? Skills, of course. Copy that. Paste it in here. Now we're going to do something a little different with the skills. I'm going to click on the 6 dots. I'm going to go to Advanced No, going to go to Style, click on Shape Divider. We're going to do something pretty crazy here. These shape dividers are pretty awesome. Click on Mountains, and look at that. They put mountains in there as a shape divider. It's pretty cool. Drops, clouds, pyramid, zigzag, pretty small zigzags, triangle. I'm going to use the triangle. I am going to change the height of the triangle so it's not so deep. And I'm going to add more padding to move everything down a little bit. Padding top of 190. So now it looks like we're pointing toward the next section, which is this section here. Let's make it 170 for the padding. And then we can also change the angle of the gradient, which we don't want to do. I meant to just go shape divider. You can sometimes change the angle depending what the divider is. You can invert it, so now it's like a pyramid. I'm going to change it to, or keep it as the normal direction. You can bring it to front in case there's elements that are behind it. You can bring it to the front. Here's what I mean by that. Just show an example. So now we have text over top of the divider. Go to shape divider. We say bring to front, and then it overlaps whatever material is in there. So if you don't want that, uncheck that. Put our padding back in. And now we have a different looking divider that sends us down to our skills. We can reduce the padding after this section and increase it from below. So let's make that 30. And let's make the section or the padding bottom here 60. All right, let's publish this page. Take a gander, see how it looks. About Us page, we've got our team. We've got questions we often receive with a nice little accordion. And our skills with the arrow pointing towards our skills. Have a gap down here. Let's get rid of that gap. Make sure there aren't extra sections we have piled in here, which there aren't. Click on these three dots, go to Advanced, padding bottom of 0, update. And now our gap, when we refresh again. Why is that gap still there? Let's inspect it. See what this gap is from. Might be from the footer. Well, here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to add negative margin down below. There's more than one way to fix problems. So let's make this 50 pixels. It's supposed to be the bottom. Hang on. We have a 60 on the bottom. Make that 0 too. I only made the padding 0. Gotta make the margin 0 as well. There we go. Now the gap is all gone, but now we're right up against the edge, and that's why we had padding of 100 at the bottom. There we go. This should be exactly what we want. Boom. There it is. Beautiful About page. Now, let us create the Contact Us page. Exit to the dashboard. Add new page. Call it Contact Us. Save draft. Edit with Elementor. Change it to full width. Elementor full width. Go to our About. Copy the header section. Paste it in here. Now we have our header. Change it to Contact Us. Change this to Contact. Let's make that all caps so we're consistent. And now I just want to add the contact module that I had on the home page. So let's head out to the home page. Sometimes there's a lot of back and forth when you're trying to find the sections to copy and paste, but it's worth it because it makes your work time a lot easier. On the Pro version, you can save sections as templates, so you don't have to go back and forth as much because you can just save the sections. But we don't have Pro, so we're doing it free. Let's copy this. Let's paste it right in here. And the shortcode is not appearing. Click on apply. Shortcode not appearing. Let's click on publish. See if it's on the live page. There it is. So it's just not rendering in here at this moment. But here we have our form. Over here we have our map. Nice little contact page. Now the last thing we have to do, or one of the last things, is make sure everything works on mobile. So we're going to go through all the pages, switch it to tablet, make sure it looks as it should. This, for example, is a little high on the tablet. Let's go to advanced. Margin top of, that's a little much, 100. Margin bottom of 0. And this one here, margin bottom of 0. That's looking better. Let's give the whole section a margin bottom of 40 to add some white space in here. And then for the mobile phone, this is quite large. I want to severely reduce this footprint we have here. Let's go to header. Let's make the min height quite a bit smaller on mobile, like that. And then the heading, let's make that heading top 160, 190, bottom of 0. And this guy, the bottom needs to be 0. There, that's much better. This form, this doesn't appear because it's not rendering right now in here. But if we click on update and we come out here, refresh this page, and if I right click, click inspect, click on this little icon here, that's a mobile device icon. We have our mobile version right here, mobile phone, iPhone 5 with our map. And if we go to a tablet like the iPad, this is how it looks on the tablet. I say it looks pretty good. So now, because we changed this top area, and we have the same top area on our About page and Services page, we have to open those and copy it over. So let's open those. Let's go to Pages. So we have Homepage, Open, Contact Us, Open. We want to open About Us and Services. And it's Control-clicked or Command-clicked on Edit with Elementor to open them on new pages. And now we can copy and paste into each one very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Copy on the header. Wait till these load. And just to show you what we're doing here, we can see that these aren't adjusted to how we want them on the Contact Us page. But I want it to be like that here. So right-click on Header on the About page, click on Paste Style. And that will adjust the style. Didn't really change what I wanted. Change the style, but not the margins. Okay, well in this case, it's easier to just paste the entire thing in here and get rid of the original header. Delete that one. Now we have Contact Us. Just update this to About Us and About. There we go. For Services, same thing. Go to Tablet. It's not quite how we want it. Click on Paste to paste in the header from the Contact Us. Delete the original header. Then we have the contact header. Let's call this our Services and Services. Now we have all our headers the same. Our columns here. Add some more text here just to make this button go down to the bottom. But I'll leave that. I'll leave it up to you to add more text there. We have our process and our skills and our team, and all that looks pretty good. Let's go to mobile. Our services at the top, looking good. Our services stacked. Could reduce the white space in here. but white space is good. Less is more, that's what they say. That's looking pretty good. Update on the About page on mobile. It's all the same elements, so they're going to be working about the same. Our accordion looking very slick on mobile. Here we have our down arrow to our skills. That's very nice. Click on update. That's also good. And now we can close all these. Even this one, let's exit out of here, exit to dashboard, because we have now finished our website, believe it or not. Let's visit the site. Let's take a look at a couple of things we still have to do. So one thing is none of these buttons are linked to anywhere. They are buttons, but you click them, they won't go anywhere. And inside Elementor is where we'd add links to that. I'm not going to do that in this case, but what I'm going to do is link up the top menu, because right now, if you click on any of these, it doesn't take you anywhere because they're not actually linked. So let's go to edit, or sorry, to the dashboard, go to appearance and then menus. And then instead of having these custom links, we're going to add the actual pages. So I'm going to delete all of these. These were just placeholders while we're developing. I'm going to delete them all and check all these boxes. Click on add to menu. And now we're going to have menu that actually works. Save menu. Come back out here. Refresh this page. We saw that these menu items took the names of the pages themselves. If you want to change that, if you want to change home page to home, just change the navigation label to home. If you want to change about us to just about, just change it in there. Contact us, take out the us. There we go, save menu, refresh the page again. Now it's much more like how it was before. And if we click on these, it takes us to those pages that we just built in Elementor. Now the design might not be exactly how you want it, the images might not be exactly how you want them in this tutorial, but at least you've learned the skills and how to use the Elementor plugin with a theme and customize the header and footer to create a pretty eye-catching website in a couple hours if you're following along. And like I mentioned throughout the tutorial, this tutorial uses the free version of Elementor. If you want to get the pro version, it has many more widgets and lots of cool stuff going on with it. Click on the link in the description down below. It'll take you to Elementor. It's an affiliate link. If you buy through that, Elementor gives me a small commission, helps me keep the lights on, helps me creating these multi-hour tutorials for you so that you can get better and so that you can make some money off this stuff by selling projects to clients. So if you do buy through my affiliate link, I really appreciate it. So that's how it works. I hope this video helps you. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to click subscribe, then the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything. And also consider buying Elementor through the affiliate link down below. It doesn't cost you any more to purchase it that way, but Elementor does send me a few dollars commission, which helps me keep these glorious lights on. And if you do purchase through there, thank you very much. And next up is clicking one of these videos that popped up on the right-hand side so you can get even better at WordPress. And until next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.